Okay, so I will start the video.
Connectra creates opportunities for people living with disabilities by providing information, resources, and programming geared towards greater inclusion and quality of life. Check out some of the programs we offer through our online learning platform, Connect Together, including our Service Mondays, where we highlight a local organization or initiative, Wednesday Chair Yoga with Bobby Seal-Kobiski, Thursday Adapted Fitness with Megan Williamson, Friday Rotating Dance Classes hosted by Janice Lawrence and Joanne Cuff, and other initiatives including presentations by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association's Growable program and our Perspectives series. Check out our updated programs calendar on our website, connectra.org, or find us on Facebook at Connectra Society.
Okay, you can start.
Oh, sorry, there we go. Hi, everyone. I'm incredibly honored to be able to speak today to share a little bit about what the BC Aboriginal Network on Disability Society is and the work that we do. Bear with me for just a moment. I'm just going to get my slideshow up and running here for you guys. Okay. There we go. Okay. I want to start today by acknowledging that I'm calling in from the traditional and unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, notably the Esquimalt, Songhees, Beecher Bay, and Silk First Nations communities where I live, work, and play as an uninvited guest. I raise my hands in gratitude to them for the work that they have done as stewards of this land since time immemorial and the work that they continue to do well into the future. My name is Paisley Pelletier. I am the Senior Indigenous Disability Case Manager here at BCANDS. I'm also a Métis woman who lives with disability. I have bilateral sensory neural hearing loss, and I've been living with hearing aids coming up on about 5 years now. So today, I kind of want to share a really broad overview of the many programs and projects that we have here at BCANDS. It's probably going to feel like a lot of information, but I want to make sure we have some time for questions and answers at the end as well. So I appreciate you kind of hanging in there for a little bit. BCANDS is an internationally recognized and award-winning not-for-profit Indigenous disability organization that holds special consultative status with the United Nations. We provide a variety of disability-related programs and services across Canada, and we're a standalone organization. As far as we're aware, we're the only Indigenous disability organization of our kind in Canada. 2023 marks 32 years that we've been successfully delivering Indigenous disability and health-related programs and services across the country. So our mission here at BCANDS is to advance the unique disability and health priorities of Indigenous persons through collaboration, consultation, and the delivery of comprehensive client services. We do this by using our knowledge, experience, relationships to push forward our vision of an inclusive and accessible Canada for all Indigenous persons and families living with disabilities. I think we have a lot of things that we work towards. So, as I'm sure many of you are aware, individuals living with disability and diverse needs come upon a large number of barriers. Things like accessible transportation, employment and education opportunities, accessible buildings, affordable and available housing. I know here in BC, the housing crisis is something that really, we can't take too lightly. The list goes on. when we pair that with kind of intersecting pieces like indigeneity, we add in some additional barriers like intergenerational trauma, racism. It makes things that much more complicated for some individuals. So this is where we try and step in and where we do what we can to help. BCANDS has a good number of programs and services that we offer. And all of our programs approach our work through trauma-informed, culturally relevant, and holistic approaches. So here at BCANDS, we have an Indigenous RDSP Navigator. We have a provincial Jordan's Principal Coordinator. We have a department that manages adjudication for Indigenous Services Canada's person with disabilities applications, as well as the monthly nutritional supplement. We have our support for Indigenous Students Learning Plan. We have a couple of researchers who are working on some projects with regards to the Accessible Canada Act. And then we have our Indigenous Disability Case Management program. So I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to go over kind of a high level overview of each of these programs. Hopefully some of this information is really helpful for you guys. Okay, so our Indigenous Disability or Indigenous RDSP Navigator provides assistance in qualifying and applying for registered disability savings plans. So the two requirements to enroll in our RDSP program are that you are under 49 years of age and that you are approved for the disability tax credit. So because the disability tax credit plays such a large part, our RDSP Navigator actually assists our clients with applying for and managing their disability tax credit as well. They do a lot of work with each of their clients in providing encouragement and support, in helping with education around some of the government programs that are relevant. They can support in attaining identification or a social insurance number. They liaise with financial institutions. They can help you find a bank or financial advisor that aligns with your values and needs. They can help with appointments, communicate with the banks. The same with doctors, healthcare providers in getting that disability tax credit certificate filled out. They can help retrieve medical documentation. They can follow up with healthcare providers, book appointments, review applications completed by clinics to make sure that everything looks like it's going to be approved. And then they can submit everything to CRA, follow up with the CRA, help with filing taxes, a whole host of things. If you have any questions about this program, I'm definitely happy to kind of help where I can, but I've got contact information on this slide for Emily Russell. She is our Indigenous RDSP Navigator. She is definitely the expert in this area, and I would definitely recommend that you reach out to her for sure after this call if you need. Our provincial Jordan's Principal Service Coordinator. Jordan's Principal is a program that was developed in memory of Jordan River Anderson, who is from Norway House, Cree First Nation in Manitoba. Jordan's Principal is a child first initiative that ensures children in First Nations communities find products, services, or support that they need. So some of the funding that we can find and the supports that are covered include a wide range of health, kind of social and educational needs, things like medical supplies and equipment, mobility aids, therapeutic services, so physiotherapy, occupational therapy, that sort of thing, land-based activities, respite care, school supplies, tutoring, teaching assistance, a whole host of needs. It's a really wonderful program. It is for eligible individuals up to 19. So there is an age limit. And our coordinator actually services all of BC. So some of them, there are regional coordinators kind of in certain areas, but it's nice to have her in the office here so we can work really closely with her and approach things for our clients if we need to. Again, if you have any questions about Jordan's principle, I would definitely recommend speaking to Raylene McGrath. She's our coordinator. She is lovely and wonderful with the work that she does here as well. All right. Our persons with disabilities adjudication programs. So persons with disabilities, I'm sure many of you are aware, is provincial disability support that is managed by the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction here in BC. Indigenous individuals who live in First Nations communities are not eligible for provincial benefits in BC, as most First Nations communities, or all First Nations communities, are federally managed by Indigenous Services Canada. So this creates a bit of a gap in services for Indigenous folks living with disabilities. BCANDS has partnered with Indigenous Services Canada to help with the adjudication of PWD applications for individuals living on reserve. This program mirrors the provincial funding amounts and has the same eligibility criteria, but is a separate application from the provincial application that's out there. We also provide adjudication for the monthly nutritional supplement that is run through the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. And we work really closely with the ministry to provide really seamless transitions for individuals moving on or off reserve. We want to try and make sure that there aren't any gaps in where any gaps in funding if you're moving locations. For more information about this program, I would recommend speaking to Margot Bach. She's our PWD adjudicator. She definitely would be able to answer a bunch of questions about that if there's anything that I can't answer today at the end of our call. Our support for Indigenous Students Learning Plan. This is an incredible program. It's a time-limited program that's available to Indigenous students with low income Canada-wide. So successful applicants will receive a laptop or some other eligible technology supports, usually, headphones or something along those lines. It's for any Indigenous student, any age, as long as they're low income and enrolled in some form of formal education. So it can be any grade or level, so long as it's an accredited institution, and they have to be actively attending classes. I think last year we were able to provide about 900 laptops to Indigenous students across the country. This year, we're aiming to provide up to roughly $2 million worth of technology. It's a fantastic program. IFONG is our SISLP coordinator. She would be able to answer a bunch of questions about that as well, but I can, again, I'll do my best. These are not all my programs. Okay. We have on staff a couple of researchers. They are dedicated to research in the areas of the Accessible Canada Act, and typically we have someone in kind of an employment research area, although that is vacant at the moment. So they are geared towards obtaining information around how Indigenous individuals are directly impacted by current legislation. I actually do have links to surveys on the upcoming slides, which is great. And I can share those with you in a moment. So what our researchers are working on right now is the project is called the First Nations Accessibility Standards, a Path Forward to Inclusion. So they are trying to address and inform the development or revision of standards in two areas relating to First Nations, both the built environment and the design and delivery of selected federal programs and services which are funded and available to First Nations communities. They are partnering with First Nations communities across Canada with the goal of gaining insight into accessibility challenges faced by First Nations and the ways that the unique social and political landscape of communities may intersect with these challenges. They are currently working right now to develop a comprehensive review of current federally regulated programs and services within and available to First Nations communities. They will be conducting an environmental scan of physical accessibility barriers within selected First Nations, remote, rural, and urban communities across Canada. And they were going to be producing accessible reports that highlight their findings, including barriers, gaps, areas of strength, with the purpose of addressing and informing the development of new standards and the revision of existing standards. So we do have a couple of surveys. If anyone is interested in providing their input and sharing their thoughts, I know our researchers would be really, really grateful. Our first one is an Accessible Canada Act awareness survey, trying to determine how many people are fully aware of the Accessible Canada Act and what it entails. And then secondly, a community-based accessibility survey as well. So both of those have QR codes. You're more than welcome to scan those and complete them at your convenience. I know your input is very greatly appreciated. And then lastly, we have our Indigenous Disability Case Management program. This is my program. I can probably talk about this all day, but I will keep it brief so that everyone can have some time we can have a conversation about this afterwards. Our program, we work with our clients, families, and support teams to provide advocacy and support. So we work with clients all across BC. We are limited to the province of BC at the moment, although we are hoping to expand into other provinces. We just don't have a time frame for that quite yet. Our only eligibility criteria for our program are that the individuals identify as Indigenous and that they self-identify as living with a disability. We have a very broad perspective when it comes to disability. We don't require any formal diagnoses or anything along those lines. We cover everything from mental health concerns, chronic illness, mobility, you name it. We take a very personalized, client-centered approach to each case, and our involvement really varies based on their needs and their requests. So typically, we assist with things like applications. This can be income assistance, persons with disabilities applications, applications for status cards or renewing status, housing applications and the like. We help manage paperwork. We can offer letters of support. We advocate on our clients' behalf quite often. We assist in sourcing out funding for specific needs, whether that's poverty reduction, food security, education, adaptive or assistive devices and technology, medical devices. we quite often work as a liaison or an intermediary between our clients and other agencies, their bands, and work to connect them to local community resources, as well as connect them to provincial and federal programs that they might be eligible for. We want to try and help them navigate the very complex systems that are in place around disability supports in BC and in the country. And our ultimate goal really is to help our clients meet their needs and achieve their goals while reducing as many barriers as possible. So, like I said, we offer these really holistic, long-term wraparound supports that are really tailored to meet the needs of each client and their families. Our files never close. Once you are a client here, we will keep your file open. If you don't need support, that's great. If something comes up 5 years down the road, our clients are able to call us up and we just pick up where we left off. We recognize that needs vary and needs change day to day. So we try and keep that open and available. We do have some limitations. We're not able to provide legal or medical advice. And unfortunately, we don't have the ability to offer any direct funding. So we can't help you pay for something, but we can help you find the funding to cover the costs, if that makes sense. And then again, for more information about this program, you are definitely would want to reach out to myself. I've got my contact information there. And I would love to talk more about this and see how we might be able to help. And I know that feels like I ran through that very, very quickly, but we've got some time for some questions and answers if anyone has anything. It looks like there's a few things in the chat. Oh, geez. Did the slides go through at all, or did they just, no?
No slides at all, no.
Oh,
None.
shoot. Okay. Well, there we go. I wish I'd looked at the chat sooner. Sorry, everyone. Technical issues. Why is that not sharing my screen? You can see the first slide though, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the first page and that's it.
Oh no.
Like the other part of your slides is on the side there. So I don't know, I guess they didn't open somehow? I don't know.
Interesting.
No,
Oh, no.
the front page.
Let's see. Okay.
There, now you got it.
There. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
There
I'm
you
so
go.
sorry,
Yeah.
everyone. Okay, well, we'll go through and I can kind of pull the slides through for you guys. You've heard the whole spiel now, so I don't know if you need me to repeat it all. I'm so sorry. So this is a little bit about our mission. Again, you know, we kind of talked about some of the barriers, so some of the lists of the barriers and everything that are coming through that we've seen with a lot of our clients. And then a list of our programs and services that we offer that I just kind of went through and talked about each of them individually a little bit. Oh my goodness. So some contact information, really the things that you're going to want are going to be the contact information. So for our Indigenous RDSP Navigator at the bottom of this page, you'll see is Emily Russell. You've got an email address for her, a phone number and extension for her. I'll leave that up for a second so everyone can do that. And the same for our Jordan's Principal Coordinator. some information for Raylene McCrath. She's fantastic. Email addresses and phone numbers and extensions, again, available if you have any questions about Jordan's principle. Our PWD and monthly nutritional supplement adjudicators, contact information there for Margot. Our SISLP there. And yeah, I'll see what I can do to share the slides with you guys via email as well. Our researchers, there's information there for Haley, contact information if you have questions about the project that they're doing. The next couple slides will have QR codes and links to the surveys. So this is for our Accessible Canada Act Awareness Survey. There's a link there to a Survey Monkey and a QR code for anyone who wants to share some thoughts or input on that. And then this one's our community-based accessibility survey. Again, the survey link and the QR code there. Again, I know any input and insight is greatly appreciated by our researchers. They're always grateful for that. And then a little bit about our case management program. So some of the areas that we can help in, areas of support. It's really, we are kind of generalists. We try and do a little bit of everything and try and help in whatever ways we can. So that's great. And then the last little bit there and some contact information for myself as well. My email address and phone number there. And then just the end of the slideshow there. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, everyone. Are there any questions at this point about any of the stuff that I kind of went over really quickly? Or
Do you guys have like a board of directors or anything? Like, do people volunteer at your organizations or anything like that?
we do have a board of directors, and we do have volunteers, or we're always happy to have volunteers. I believe, let me just take a look here. If I look on our website, who would you contact about that? You could always send over some interest to, if there's anyone that's interested, could always email me.
Okay.
We do have, let's see, employment volunteer opportunities, if there's something. Yeah, or you can always see, I know we are based out of Victoria,
Yeah.
but there's, we have a general email as well for any kind of general inquiries. That's just BCANDS, so BCANDS at bcands.bc.ca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. It looks like Cindy, you have your hand up.
I'm just wondering, is it got a web page for us to looking for the more detailed information?
Yes, yeah, I can share the web page. I'll do that in the chat right now.
Okay, yeah. BCA.
Oops. Oh,
BS.
there we go. There, I hope that helps. And I'll see if I can find a way to share the slides as well with you guys.
Then can see see the Twitter and then see that I think I find it. BCANDS.bc.ca.
That's it. Yeah. You
Okay.
bet.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Patty, I see you've got your hand up too.
Hi. Hi, Paisley. Very nice
Hi.
to meet you. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Oh, you're very
I-
welcome. I'm so sorry there were technical issues.
It's okay. You explained it great. And I'm from FSI, BC, Family
Okay.
Support Institute, and so are some of the other staff on the call today. And it's wonderful
Fantastic.
to learn more about your organization and what you do.
Yeah.
My question was, how do people find you? If someone was to come through our network, now that those of us who know, it might be appropriate for us to share, but how do people normally find you?
It has been a lot of word of mouth. We are slowly, we've been around for a very long time. And it seems that whether people are just kind of searching for supports and our website comes up, we're there. I know it's self-referral. I would love to get the word out more, because we have a lot of really great programs, I think, that can be really beneficial for a lot of individuals. And I'm always surprised at how many people are saying, oh, I wish I'd seen you years ago, or I wish I'd found you earlier. I think the best way is which kind of ask that people are just kind of share what they know. And word of mouth, it travels really far. I would love to see kind of more engagement and more people reaching out for the help that they need. But individuals can refer them over. It can be that general bcands@bcands.bc.ca email, or to myself, to DCM2. I'm happy to direct, if needed, to the right program.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your work. It's great.
No, thank you. All right. Oh, Cindy, do you have another question?
Oh, yes. My husband, just recently, he recognized his Aboriginal status, my Aboriginal things. But I'm not sure, is it as a family, is it I can get just the resource from your organization thing? But I'm a person with disability.
Mm-hmm.
Just his grandma is Aboriginal people, and then he didn't have anything until these days. Is a lawyer. Yeah, I think it's UBC lawyer school.
Okay, yeah.
Get the Aboriginal something. I don't. She just said, "Oh, we can fill out the form with the Aboriginal people now, be recognized by the government now." So that I think, is it he said his son. Our son will be recognized. Is it as a wife? Is it I'm recognized as an Aboriginal too?
We work to support whole families. So if there's one person, we've got families that will possibly adopt a child who's Indigenous, but the family is not, and we'll work with the whole family if there's something. So we want to try and do the best we can to support as many people as we can. I mean, our mandate is definitely towards Indigenous folks. But if they have family members who are not Indigenous, then we'll work to support the whole family. We recognize that you can't have a healthy family if there's only one person that's getting help and not the rest, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Looks like, there's a question in the chat. Any Indigenous support groups that meet in person or online? That's a really good question, Heather. I'm not aware of anything right off the top of my head that jumps out at me. I think there might be a few things through like local friendship centers that might do something like that. But that's definitely, I think, something that's missing on a grander scale. I would love to see more of. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that just
Cindy.
so you just now you talking about you are based on the Victoria, but I live in Vancouver. How I can get the program? How can I get have your program?
Oh, if you email me, so I'm at dcm2@bcands.bc.ca. We work with folks all across the province. So we're in Victoria, but I have clients all the way up in Terrace and Fort St. James and in Vancouver and all over the place. So we do a lot of our work over the phone or by email or by kind of Zoom meetings like this. Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Do we have any other questions? Anything else? Give it a few minutes. But if something comes up afterwards, or you're kind of going over the slides again, or taking a look at things, or rewatching it, and something comes up, I'm always happy to answer questions. You can always reach out, and I'd be more than happy to kind of see what I can do to assist or to answer some questions, provide a little more information. We're always available for that sort of thing as well. Yeah, Heather, I think that's what I love so much about our case management program. I know that kind of the systems in place around disability and kind of the health programs are so convoluted, and it's confusing for anyone. And especially when you have to deal with multiple different people and different organizations and different doctors and different everything. I love that we can be a place that can be the kind of a one-stop shop, for lack of a better phrase, to be able to kind of provide that support, and kind of you can share your story just once instead of having to retell it 20 different times. Share it with one person, and then we can do what we need to kind of pull all the pieces together for them. Thanks, Robin. I really am grateful that I was able to be here and present today. I'm so sorry about the technology challenges at the beginning. I'm usually like to think that I'm a little better with technology than that, but apparently I proved myself otherwise today.
Yeah, that was really nice. So I think we can end the call.
I think so, unless there are any other questions.
Thank you for everything.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining, Chrissy.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You
Bye-bye.
guys as well.
Okay. So, thank you once again.